chair of death first.
Oh, I see.
That's my favorite chair. I'm gonna have to ask him.
Yeah, it'd be perfect there. Thank you. So, I'm sorry. Sorry to inconvenience you. That's okay. Thank you.
Thanks.
We're gonna boom this one. Just point it right down like a right.
Okay. Like that?
Well, you want to get closer. It's right here.
Right. It's not in the way.
No. And try not to move those wires at all because it
Okay.
clicks. All right, we're rolling. Okay. Right, can you hear this at all? Okay, Mike. Could you just say your name and how old you are and how long you've been looking for Bigfoot? How long have you been researching?
Name's Mike Hartman. I'm 29, and I've been doing it since my peak interest was in the 3rd grade when I read a book about it. So.
That's how you got interested in it?
Yeah.
Could you describe exactly like how you really got into everything and how it kind of snowballed?
Mainly it was a fishing trip. I was at 7:15. I was walking back with a buddy of mine. We looked across the river and he hit me on the shoulder, said, "Mike, look, the fog is walking beside us." When I looked to my right on the side of him, there was something white moving with the fog, but to this day I'm not real sure what it was because it matched it perfectly in color. It blended in, but it just seemed odd that we had both seen the same thing at that time. So
that was your first experience?
That would have been my first one that really got me fired up, yeah.
What other experiences have you had?
Oh boy. Many. I've been on hike after hike after hike. I've been doing investigations. I've had vocalizations where I've been screamed at. I've had wood on wood returns where I've been out knocking. I would say the one that probably scared me the most ever was when I was screamed at. That was the one that grabbed my attention the most. So.
Could you describe like what happened?
I was at 7:15. I was coyote hunting, and I was using a predator call. I was sitting 15 feet off the ground in my tree stand with a bow. I was using a rabbit call. It was just about dark. It was late winter, early spring, February, March, still cold outside. Just as the sun started to go down, the coyotes should have been moving in. I hit the predator call again, and from the hillside directly across from me, there was a scream that just put the hair up on the back of my neck. At that time, I climbed out of the tree stand because it was 3/4 of a mile back to my Jeep, and I left my tree stand and everything. I just went back to the Jeep. I was gone. I was out of there. So that was probably the hairiest experience I've had.
How confident are you in the existence of Bigfoot?
I'm very confident. I do believe they're here. I believe that they're a new species, probably maybe a hybrid, something that it came from the days of Neanderthal, Giganticus pithecus. But I believe that they are a new species, a living, breathing, dying, walking, bleeding creature. It's not a phenomenal or a supernatural. I believe in the total existence of it.
And what kind of a response do you get from people when you tell them about what you do?
Usually I get laughed at, but there's quite a few of them out there that they support me. They ask a lot of questions. They show interest. Some of them even tell me a story that happened to them in the past. But as far as the main general population, they give you a crap. They pick on you about it, but you know, that goes with almost anything. So,
Um, if you were to actually, so you've never actually physically seen one, like for
no,
definitely sure.
no, never had 100%. That's what I'm after.
If you were to see one, how do you think that would change you as a person?
Oof. Uh, that would probably take away that one little piece in the back corner of my mind that where I doubt myself, wondering if I'm doing this for no reason at all, or if I am just basically ghost hunting. If I did actually see one, I think it would change that one little bit in me, and it would probably cause me to be doing it a lot more. I would probably start getting better equipment, start, and start hunting more, of course I'm no kill, not hunting, but tracking more, trying to discover. But I think it would fuel me. I really do. I think it would scare me, excitement, everything, all those feelings at once, but I think it would fuel me.
Have you ever thought about why this subject interests you so much?
I've wondered that a lot. Um, I think part of it is just wanting to know, the unknown. Everyone says there's been photographs, short films, movies made about them, multiple sightings, and I just want to see one. I want to find it. I don't want to go out, take one out to hand over to scientists or nothing. I just want to see it for Mike. So,
Um, it's very interesting. Um, Other than what other rewards do you get from looking for Bigfoot? What are the other benefits other than potentially seeing one?
it keeps me in shape, keeps I guess the woodland, the backwoodsman in me a little bit. It tunes in my hunting skills for deer, because it's the same thing. You're looking for a skittish animal that always, whenever you spot it, seems to run the other way. Definitely tunes in my hunting skills, but exercise, I mean, walking miles and miles out through snow, mud, ice, blizzard, worst conditions imaginable. It keeps me healthy. Makes me, I don't know, just makes me feel good. Makes me feel real good. Tired, but good.
At the end of the day, if you never see Bigfoot and you're an old man and you're living somewhere and you've given up on it, do you think and you get to the point where you really believe that you won't see it? How do you think that would make you feel?
Well, I always said I was going to stick around to see one if I got to live to be 100. So I guess if I never do, then I would probably feel a little bad about it, but I wouldn't feel like I wasted my time looking for it because I have benefited in other ways from doing it. So there would be a slight bit of sadness come over me, and maybe I'd be down a little bit, but at least I tried. I mean, that's more than a lot could probably say. So
There's a lot of proof out there and a lot of evidence about that almost proves the existence of Bigfoot. And is it frustrating that most people don't understand this and look at it as a myth and something that isn't real?
yeah, it does. That's a little bit hard to. And
Do you ever feel like you just want to just shout out to everyone like you need to look at this? This is very practical and very possible.
yeah, but I know that they never would. I mean, you could probably walk right up to their front porch with one, holding its hand, have it knock on the door, and hand them a bag of M&Ms, and they still wouldn't believe you. they will not believe you. So, I mean, as long as I work on my opinion, I would like to change others, but I can't change what's out of my hands. So, I mean, it gets discouraging, and people who say that they believe or that they've seen one, and then when you go to ask them about it, they clam up all of a sudden, or they all of a sudden they don't want to talk about it anymore. Once you start to actually ask them, talk to them, investigate them about it, they like to slam doors on you. But that happens. There's always that one out there, and I just haven't found it yet, but there's that one out there that will say, yeah, come on in, I'll tell you everything I know. Let's go, I'll show you. And if I got to go through that first 195 to get to that one, then that's what I got to do.
All right. What else?
Just talk whatever you want to talk about.
Yeah. Is there anything that you just want to kind of just say? I mean, the audience that'll probably see this probably doesn't know anything at all about this.
Well, if there's anyone out there doubtful, the first recorded Bigfoot sighting in Ohio was in 1797. There was actually 3 of them that year. I know a lot of people in the northern states, California and what, they do not believe that Bigfoot exists east of the Mississippi. They think it's a northwest animal and that's it. But if they ever want to find out, come on down to Ohio and they'll prove you wrong. So
I guess one more question is, why hasn't there been more evidence of this? Why hasn't either a body been found, or why hasn't been more photographic evidence that could prove it?
in a technological world, we're smarter than they are. But when we go into the woods, we're walking in their backyard. Just like if one came into the downtown Chicago area, it would be lost. It wouldn't know what to do. It'd be confused, scared, running around in circles. That's the same thing that we do when we go into the woods. We're in their backyard, but the only thing is they know it better. They know where to hide. If obviously they don't want to be seen, if they did, then there would be more of them caught. But in a woods or a nature setting, they're just flat out smarter than we are. They can outthink us, they can outmove us, they can outrun us. They're more capable of us. So, and we have cameras and everything, hidden cameras and whatnot, but those all send out frequencies. Well, they can outhear us too, so those don't do us any good because they put out a very high-pitched tone that they can pick up on. So they're very used to their environment, and they know when something's not in place, and normally that's us as people. That's the ones not in place there. So
Is there anything that could happen that would make you no longer believe in Bigfoot?
no. I've thought about that before, and I've actually gave up twice, but I've always seemed to bounce right back to it, so I really don't think there is.
And you'll continue to do this for as long as you're around?
As long as I can walk, yeah. Yep, as long as I'm mobile, and if not, someone can wheelchair my butt into their car and drive me around the back road. So, but as long as I'm able to, yeah, I'll be looking.
All right.
Want to do anything about just off the subjects, like
Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
just background or like you were talking about fishing earlier,
Oh.
just anything. Just,
Can you get the sleeve for this?
yeah. Kind of like let them, know you more. So
As a person,
Yeah.
Exactly,
I
so-
gotcha.
so it's more
Okay, what do you do as for a living?
I work at Glass Garden Greenhouse. I'm there as a salesman, maintenance, mulch loader. Work a lot with plants, doing grafting, basically a horticulturalist, only without the degree. Used to do bass tournaments. I've lived in Ohio all my life, except for 3 years in the military. I like building cars, welding, hot rods, motorsports, motocross. Used to do amateur racing. Fishing was probably the first love of my life ever. Been in trouble with the courts before. Been on probation. I mean, I'm no angel. But, people learn to overlook me and find me today as a better person. So,
You don't mind me asking, you don't have to answer it. What kind of instances did you have with the law?
13 breaking and entering charges. Got into a little bit of a drug problem. Got into a little bit of a drug problem with marijuana. I decided I wanted to smoke more than I did go to work, so I quit work so I could stay home and smoke. The only thing about that was that's when the money stopped, so I couldn't afford my drugs anymore. And that's pretty much what done that for me. And then there was that turning point in my life where I went to detox and everything like that. Went through a program, a 12-step program, and found God, and that basically is really what turned my life, was God. So
How does your religion conflict with theories of evolution that might also have something to do with Bigfoot?
well, I see it as God. They said that he created all the animals on the earth and that Adam gave them names. The only problem is that he never supplied us with those names or photographs, so that's my belief on that.
And keep an eye on that just so it doesn't get in the picture. Do you have brothers and sisters?
One brother, he's 2 years older than me, still in the military.
What does he think about this? About your hobbies, your Bigfoot experience?
He thinks I'm nuts, but everyone thinks that about me my whole life, so it just fits. But I mean, he used to believe, and he's a very good artist and has drawn me pictures about it before, but he himself says he just don't have time to go running around looking for a big hairy bipedal mammal in the United States, but he really doesn't get down hard on me about it. He just jokes with me, picks on me, so normal brother stuff.
What about your parents?
Mom is actually very supportive of me. She believes me 100%, has no problem with what I'm doing as long as it keeps me out of trouble. My dad, on the other hand, he's never sober enough to know what it is I'm doing, so.
Okay. Anything else?
Yeah, unless you want to, if you have anything else you want to
No, I can't think of anything. I mean.
Okay, Mike. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
It was excellent. Thank you.
How's the lighting? Is it getting?
It's good. It's getting a little dark, but
Want to move Tom? Move for
I
Tom?
mean, there's nowhere we're gonna be able to move him. It's okay. You can still see it. It's
Yeah,
just
like
a little.
five-
It's a little
five,
dark.
10
I'm just
minutes.
opening up every so often.
Okay.
If we want to keep it consistent.
Want to just change the angle a little?
No, it's. I mean, where is there more light? There's more. We're okay. It looks good. You want to see it?
No, it's not nice.
It's a little blue, but trying to gain up.
It's on L.
What do you think?
Shirt's green. There we go.
Yeah, that looks good. This is a little dark, but. Okay, Tom, if you could just say your name, your age, and how long you've been researching Bigfoot.
Tom Thacker. I'm 39 years old, and was first interested in Bigfoot when I was 12, so it's been a while. And back in the 70s, a lot of stories, and my dad used to read them to me out of outdoor magazines, and that's kind of where my interest started.
Your dad got you into it?
Yeah.
So do you actually remember the first the first thing you heard about Bigfoot? The first time you actually even heard of it?
Seen this story probably took place out in the Pacific Northwest. Probably something kind of silly about, Bigfoot attacking some family. I can't remember the details, but I found it pretty intriguing, and that's what started it.
Mm. When did you actually start doing research yourself?
Really seriously, only about a year ago. But I've done a lot of reading for several years. When I was in college, I did a lot of reading, and I've kept pretty much an interest for quite a few years.
And how do people usually react to you when they find out that this is a hobby that you are involved with?
They don't say too much. Living in the city, people don't know much about the outdoors, so they tend to ignore it, really.
Mm-hmm. And what is your most interesting experience in the field?
Well, done some research with some guys up in northern Ohio, and we were out checking some, I think it was some tape recordings that they'd set up, and that was the first place I had seen the trees that were bent over. Must have been like 20 or so around there, and I found it pretty intriguing.
Mm-hmm. So the average person probably isn't even aware that people are really even researching Bigfoot. How do you think people could how would people what would you tell people to make them, if not believe, believe more, or at least hold the opinion that it's at least possible?
Uh, yeah, people I know, it's kind of difficult because it's like what their knowledge base is to begin with. I mean, how much they know about primates and evolution and that sort of thing. So, it's kind of hard to figure out where to start with some people.
Mm-hmm. Do you sometimes just find yourself just not even bothering because?
Pretty much, yeah. It's sometimes not even worth the effort.
And what is your education background?
I have a degree in anthropology. I studied archaeology mainly.
And your family?
Family? Coming from a family of 6. I'm the youngest. My father was a Baptist minister, but he passed away about 15 years ago.
How do your brothers and sisters, how do they what do they think of your research?
They don't say too much about it. I mean, most of them don't live around here, so they pretty much ignore it. So it's no big deal.
And your wife is also a researcher.
Right.
And did you meet her through researching, or did you guys both get into it together?
She started getting into it. We had taken a trip to California last year, and she started reading up a little bit on it then, and ever since then she's been pretty interested in it. So.
Would you say it's something that you guys do together?
Oh yeah, definitely.
And it brings you closer?
Yeah, it just gives us something to do, just one more thing.
Now, with all the information about Bigfoot out there, what do you think is the one? What do you think the Bigfoot community needs to kind of bring them out of this almost forgotten wing of science and more into the forefront of science?
There's more scientists kind of joining the cause, so to speak. That's starting to happen. I think we'll see more of that in the years to come.
And what do you think is the best piece of evidence?
Good footprints. There's a lot of information you can glean from a footprint. And, they find dermal ridges. You can tell how the foot, the mechanics. So it gives you a lot of information. It's hard to hoax something like that.
Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of people out. Some people say, you know, you and Mike have been researching a long time, and you've never actually seen Bigfoot, but there are people out there who say they've seen Bigfoot 20, 30, even sometimes even more times. Would you say that these people are would you believe them, or would you think that they're probably lying or something else?
Yeah, it's hard to say. That they tend to be very secretive, so they don't allow people to try to investigate these claims. So it's kind of difficult to judge them.
Why do you think that is?
They could be hoaxing it. Uh, it's really hard to say. It's a strange phenomenon.
What else? You guys know? What else? We haven't covered.
Yeah. So, with an anthropology background, can you just expand on where you think they derive from? You know, because I've read about the theories of like crossing the Bering Strait and whatnot, and just tell us what you think is it was possible.
There is some evidence from China. You have the Gigantopithecus, which was a giant ape that's known in the fossil record, and some people believe that's an ancestor of Bigfoot that it came across the Bering Strait along with humans. It's hard to say right now. There's not that much evidence. Won't really know until we have a body.
What about? I've heard theories. One theory I've heard is that Native Americans wiped out the majority of Sasquatch, and the few remaining ones were left to kind of go off in the most remote parts of the woods. What would you think of a theory like that?
I think that likely most Indian stories, they tend to treat them as like another tribe, one to be avoided. So I think they built these stories up to distance themselves from them for safety reasons and whatnot. I can't see them attacking, Sasquatch. It sounds kind of strange.
What do you
Characteristic.
What do you think? Do you think Sasquatches are dangerous animals? Do you think they're more just kind of want to be left alone?
Pretty much want to be left alone. There's no real good evidence of them really attacking any humans.
Now, if Sasquatch were to be found, and a live specimen were to be found, he'd be and it was acknowledged that the whole world would recognize that this is a real animal. How do you think that would change the scientific community and also the Bigfoot community itself?
Well, as far as the Bigfoot community, I think they would be overrun by the scientific community. I think a lot of physical anthropologists, a lot of biologists would come in and see a big opportunity to forward their careers. So I think it would be pretty hard on the Bigfoot community. I think the scientific community would pretty much pretend like, well, we knew it was there all along, no big surprise.
How much free time do you spend yourself on doing research?
Not a lot. I have quite a few interests, so I kind of have to shoehorn it in with everything else. But I try at least 1 weekend a month.
What are your other interests?
Oh, I'm a movie buff. I'm a book collector. Just numerous things like that.
What are some of your favorite films and books?
Well, I'm a big fan of Charles Dickens and H.P. Lovecraft. As far as movies go, I'm a big fan of Werner Herzog and Mario Bava, a lot of foreign films.
Anything else? Is there anything you want to just say?
I can't think of anything right off the top of my head.
Covered a lot.
I think that's it. I think we got it. All right.
Cool.
Thank you. Excellent.
Yeah, thanks.